The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Let's turn to Ally, your book, My Journey Across the American-Israeli Divide. You suggested that President Obama reached out to the Muslim world because he was abandoned by his Muslim father and Muslim stepfather, leading him to, quote, seek acceptance by their co-religionists. That seems a shocking bit of armchair psychology, and more importantly, I think it might miss the point that Obama would reach out to the Muslim world because of 9/11, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the threat of terrorism, the need for stability for Israel.
And it's all in there. As an ambassador, my job was to understand the man to whom I had to represent my government. In 2009, the president wasn't well known, certainly not well known to Israelis. So there's a section of the book called Obama 101, where I talk about how I, who came to this job as an historian, not as a diplomat, took my historian skills and used them to study the president. I looked at everything he wrote, everything he talked about, and I looked at his policies. And he used to talk a lot about his own family connections, about his relationships with his biological fathers, his stepfathers, his connections with the Muslim world. And he would talk about them quite frequently. He spoke about it in his first inaugural address. He spoke about it in his first trips abroad, which were to Cairo and to Turkey. His first interview on international television was on Al Arabiya television. Right. He spoke about it. He thought of himself as a personal bridge between America and what he called the Muslim world. And in the book, I simply quote what he wrote about himself. And it was important for Israel to understand this. I also said in the book that if the president could reconcile the United States with parts of this Muslim world, as he called it, that would be in Israel's interest.
But do you understand why some people have taken offense to this, thinking that you are basically suggesting something that they don't think exists, first of all, in the president's psychology, but also that it feeds into this whole Obama is a Muslim?
I understand that, and there should be sensitive about that. But at the same time, if an individual is writing this about himself and saying this influenced the way I looked at the world, that is my job as an ambassador to take that seriously.
All right, the book is Ally, My Journey Across the American-Israeli Divide. Whatever you think of the politics in it, I have to say you are a lovely writer. Michael Oren, thank you so much.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.